What is going on, CB Gaming family? Welcome in to the NACL Open Qualifiers, Day 1, Game 1. We got CB Gaming taking on Illinois State University Redbirds. My name is Yanni. I am joined here by Romeo. And Romeo, this is a little bit different than what you and I normally do. We got some really hot players out here on the Rift as we are into Champion Select. We've already seen a lot of picks and bans off the board. Tell me about them.
Well, already Redbirds have taken away Vladimir, Silas, and Kindred. Silas and Kindred being one of the best junglers in the game right now. Silas, a great flex for mid and jungle. Kindred, one of the greatest counters to Maokai and just all around great at high play. We're starting to get some of the picks on the board at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like Karma, the selection here for ISU. It's because Zilean was banned out. Tempos, a storied Zilean player, millions upon millions of mastery points. I see CB is going with Senna Wukong. Now, I don't know if it's Senna Wukong bot lane, but I remember that was a lane for a very short time last season.
I would really doubt if it was Senna Wukong bot lane. I think it's safe.
Bro, it was a legit lane. It was a legit lane.
It was, but right now, with the way the game is, I think Wukong's one of the best 80 junglers overall. And if you really want, you can still flex him top. So I think that's more of the route we'll be seeing here. Of course, Senna, a really strong scaling support. And on the other side, we have one of the best bot lane combos there is right now. Karma and Ezreal, super safe, and they just combo off each other really well.
We see Cassante getting picked up here. That looks like it'll go up to Meslo. You know, Cassante has been a terror in the top lane, especially in pro play. I know you were doing a lot of watching yesterday.
Yeah, Cassante has actually been one of the most wild picks. I believe he has the most solo kills in the top lane, as well as the most solo kills if you were to add up second, third, fourth, and fifth most kills in the top lane combined. He still has more. Cassante's actually one of the most insane champions added to League of Legends for laning phase and can do a lot in team fights, isolating people through walls, and his all-out ability has been just tearing house in pro play.
It feels almost like what Kobe said yesterday. It feels like when players play against Cassante, they just kind of lose their head out there. Going through the last couple of picks and bans here, Seraphine is going to be the pickup for CB. So it's a pretty solid flex option, as everybody knows by now. Can go pretty much anywhere in the mid or bot lane. Second half of bans coming through. We see Olaf taken off of the board. It's been a champion that people have been trying to play into Cassante. Meanwhile, it's Syndra and Hecarim taken away by CB.
I think Hecarim up in this level of play is one of the strongest junglers. He can be around the map rapidly at any point you want. He has a lot of teamfight capability. His heal is still pretty strong despite the new Grievous works. We are playing on 13.1b at the moment, so the Grievous wounds are affected. The ADC changes have gone through. But I think that's a really good ban from CBG taking out the Hecarim. Of course, we have Olaf and Jax banned, so they clearly think Wukong will be going to the jungle.
And Jax, very strong champion, so you want to take that off the board. Force Phenom onto something else. They are going to go with the Fiora. So tell me about this Fiora Cassante.
Fiora Cassante is very much so a skill matchup overall. Fiora has to be one of the strongest duelists in the game at the moment. I've seen this champion run rampant low elo and high elo, and with this level of play, a perfect executing Fiora can win this matchup not easily, but it's a very good possibility. It means this lane most likely will have a lot of fighting in it between Cassante and Fiora. Of course, Fiora has a really good exchange with Cassante. She usually is able to break ahead of the short changes. I believe Cassante wins the long exchanges overall, but it's very much so how the fight breaks out. Who determines who's going to win.
See Jarvan getting selected there, so there's your other engage option for the side of the Redbirds. See a couple of different hovers coming out here for Drew Dozier. Can play pretty much anything. Will opt into the Orianna for increased team fighting prowess.
Yes, they will. And of course, Yone going to be the final pick going through. He's going to try to terrorize that Orianna in lane and make sure she's never able to play the game coming out of it.
Yeah, and when you take a look at what CB Gaming has put together, I mean, Seraphine Yone combination is pretty fantastic. You know, you can wombo combo those ultimates together and really run a team fight.
You absolutely can. However, ISU's draft also very heavily fits objective control and a great team fight. Of course, the one problem they might have is a jungle fight, because I believe Wukong does beat Jarvan pretty decently, especially considering Wukong can just kind of hop out of his ult. But overall, if Jarvan's able to find his way and hit a Cataclysm on Seraphine or Senna, or even trap Yone in it after he, like his ghost form in it, it can spell disaster for the side of CB Gaming.
It absolutely could. And on the side of CB, what are their strengths here? It looks like they got a strong suite of champions they've selected.
First off, CB Gaming definitely have the scaling over ISU. You have that Senna Seraphine combo in the bot lane. They're known to scale very well. And they just have a very safe bot lane where you can just kind of poke, play safe, and allow your team to do stuff on the other side of the map during laning phase. Of course, they have one of the strongest top lanes in the game in Fiora. I imagine we'll be seeing Wukong playing very mid-top heavy this game, trying to get that Fiora ahead, trying to make sure Orianna's losing a lot of those minions, being pushed off with a lot of XP.
Yeah, and so what does ISU have to do to make sure to, keep the scaling in check for the side of CB?
Well, I think one of the most important things is being able to have Jarvan set up all the lanes. He's going to be doing a lot of damage control for Orianna, I would expect. But also, if you can set up a nice tower dive on Seraphine, Senna in the bot lane, and get your Ezreal and Karma ahead, that could be huge. And as well, again, with it being such a skill-heavy matchup in the top lane, Jarvan really does have 3 lanes he can play through pre-level 6. If he's able to impact, get Cassante ahead of Fiora, that would be absolutely amazing for the side of Illinois State University Redbirds. However, after level 6, I would expect him to be a lot more centric on that bot side, making sure Ezreal and Karma are able to get ahead of Senna and Seraphine so they can do a lot more impact in the team fights.
Yeah, and it would be pretty wise for ISU to pick on this bot lane a little bit. If GFP can get down there. Senna Seraphine not known for their mobility, whereas on the other side, Yone, if he's got his Q stacked up, can dash out of things. Fiora has a dash built into her kit. And, Karma at least has some CC lockdown. If you take a look at the side of ISU, though, they don't really have a whole lot of point-and-click CC.
No, they really don't. They are going to be very dependent on a lot of skill shots being landed and a lot of Karma sticking close to people you don't necessarily want her that close to be able to land a lot of these stuns. Of course, Cassante can take someone out of a fight, but then Jarvan's going to become your main tank, so it's a very risk-reward situation depending on who he's taking out. The other thing I've really noticed is CBG has some great flank angles with the champions they have. Fiora has a great flank and split push if they opt out of the team fight. Yone has a great flank. Wukong can easily get on to the backline of ISU if Ezreal has already burnt his E. So there's a lot that CBG can do to change the course of the team fight, or even opt out of it and just change the course of the map overall.
Yeah, their ultimates make for a nasty team fight with Senna, Wukong, Seraphine, and Yone. It could be bedlam in those fights. ISU better be careful. So we are going to step away. We're going to take a very short break as we're in the spectator delay. But when we return, we'll give you all of the action between the Redbirds and CB Gaming here for the NACL Open Qualifiers. Alrighty, everybody, we are on to Summoner's Rift here for the first match of the NACL Open Qualifiers for both these squads. The Redbirds are on the blue side, CB Gaming on the red side. And, you know, now as we get set up here, just a bit of a line of scrimmage, get to tell you about these teams. ISU, a pretty decorated roster of veteran presence for these qualifiers. They won 2021 Winter Playoffs with GFP Andrew Joser, but the last year they haven't done so hot, Romeo.
No, they have not. They've done really well when it comes to in-season play, but once it gets to the playoffs, it's always seemed like a little bit of a breakdown for them, getting eliminated fourth, going to the lower bracket. They've done great in season, but as soon as they get out of season, it's like the jitters start to come on, and it gets a lot just downhill for them.
On the side of Wildcard, it's a little bit different over there. This roster has a lot of question marks, but a couple stalwarts, specifically Nemesis in the mid lane.
Yes, Nemesis in the mid lane is a very, very strong pickup on their side, a very strong mid laner for the side of them, and I expect him to do a lot this game if CB are to perform.
The wild card of this game, Meslo getting that Cassante, a role swap recently. I saw him at a collegiate combine, and he was doing quite well up in the top lane. It was right when he had made his swap. He's got what many are calling the strongest champion on the patch.
Oh, I don't even think it's just what many people.
Wait a minute.
Oh, wow.
Talked about that early gank. We talked about the lack of mobility in the bot lane, and GFP takes advantage. This first blood going over to the Redbirds.
And that is a massive first blood, especially considering it went to Disconnector. You want those gold early on the ADC, and with it going to Ezreal, it's going to put them so far ahead of that lane. And now they really have two options. They can either keep pushing up the pressure on Seraphine Senna, or they can try to freeze the wave towards their tower and just not let them touch it for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and really the name of the game in the bot lane has been pushing power for the most recent patch to start the season. And Disconnector and Tempos on these champions, Ezreal and Karma, they can get that pushing power. Now, that's not to say that on the other side, they're not able to get the pushing power on the side of CB, but, you know, that little bit of an advantage is certainly going to help, especially once Disconnector goes and picks up a Sheen.
Yes, it will. And the other thing is Seraphine burnt Flash, and that means if they want to go for a repeat gank, Seraphine, if she has to walk up to break a wave or something like she's doing right now, it's open season.
They do know that GFP was going to be up on the top side, and we see Kizno on the invade here, Phenom also moving down. You see some fireworks in the jungle in just a little bit, and they do spot out that Jarvan, will be able to flag and drag out, but is going to lose out on that blue buff.
And it's a good trade back considering what happened to the bot lane. It's not necessarily exactly what you want to see, but it's to be expected considering how strong that flag and drag is for disengaging.
So, pretty good stuff there by Kizno. Nemesis having a bit of an advantage on Drew Doja here. Remember, Orianna, I believe the Orianna buffs went through, so her W's quite a bit stronger now.
Yes, I believe her W is a lot stronger. They did do a little bit of an overall buff to the side of Orianna.
Yeah, she's just
wasn't
busted now. She does a lot of damage.
I wouldn't say she's overly busted per se, but she is a lot stronger considering her champion was completely tanking on 13.1A.
Yeah, which makes me really sad. I love playing Orianna. I always W max her, so now like getting to do extra damage for W maxing feels pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. You can see Drew Dozier already out of mana, and that is the problem when you are a mana champion going up against a manaless champion. That sort of thing is going to happen, and it's gonna start getting rough. You're gonna have to pick some sort of time to teleport out.
The other thing is, Yone has been consistently one of the best champions in the mid lane since his release. Like, that champion always feels like there's a spot for him inside of pro play and inside of the solo duo lobbies. That champion has such a strong kit, CC-wise, mixed damage. It's actually just one of those insane champions, and it's a pretty good pick into Orianna, both because of mana, and because if he lands one ult on her, she's virtually dead.
Yeah, I would think the only problem with him is his ability to escape sticky situations where, you know, if you're snapping back and there's enemies around you, you have a big problem.
And that's the thing. If he's snapping out and Jarvan's able to catch him, especially post 6 with a Cataclysm or something, the only way out for him is going to be that dash Q. If he doesn't have it up, he is pretty well as good as dead between Orianna and GFP.
Take a look at the bot lane. Disconnector getting his first back has the General Grievous build. Has 4 swords.
Now, the other thing to note in this patch is General Grievous actually is worth itemizing into again, considering
No, I'm not talking about that item. You know what Star Wars is? You're know Star Wars?
You're talking about lightsabers, bro.
Yes. Come on, you're supposed to know that.
Hey, listen. All right, I do know that. I just haven't watched those movies in about a year. Star Wars Day is coming up in a few months. I'm gonna rewatch them all.
Yeah, you better. Okay. You might have to make that a project.
A project? Rewatch the Star Wars? Listen, the new movies. I don't want to. Oh wow.
Meslo with the engagement, dropping that ultimate onto the Fiora. Phenom flashing. Meslo flashing after him in hot pursuit. Grand challenge has gone down. Phenom, trying to proc them. Can't quite get it done. Meslo able to pick up the solo kill. And what did we mention about Cassante and solo kills?
It is the most, and it's going to stay that way like a Jedi Master, Obi-Wan. Cassante picks up the kill over Fiora in a very, very nice duel. Really well played by Meslo. Knew the damage really well. Both flashes burnt in the top lane. Fiora's burnt her TP. I can only imagine Meslo may do the same as well. But that means top lane is open for Wukong to try and turn the tables here.
Yeah, double Sheen up top. Certainly a lot of gank power if they want to head up there. GFP doing a nice job of waiting. Lands the double knockup. Maldad going to have to flash away. Will be able to survive. Seraphine also burning their flash. So another great gank by GFP in the bot lane.
It is a very, very strong gank from GFP. The only thing is he's down 20 CS right now to Kisno. Kisno's been doing a good job at just trying to keep the tables on the side, and it's why, despite them being 2 kills up, there's only a 500 gold difference between these two teams at the moment.
Yeah, it's not that large, and Kisno, once they get that ultimate available, will be able to make things happen. Like we mentioned, Sheen power spike on a lot of these champions is huge. You see Cassante's picked his up as well, so look for Meslo to try to put the screws to Phenom up top.
Yes, I can only imagine that will happen soon. There's 3 big power spikes that you can look for on Wukong. The first is Sheen. The second is when he finally picks up his Divine. And the other one, of course, once he has that ultimate available, he can start deleting any champion who tries to take a 1v1 with him.
Yeah, the double knockup is probably one of the best things they've done to Wukong in a long time. I remember that champion was pretty down to the dumps, pretty downtrodden at that time. And once they made that change, he was in the meta instantly.
And he hasn't left since. It's honestly one of the best junglers for ganking. He's gone kind of from a very early game jungler to more of a mid-game jungle in this season. His clear is really, really strong with the way the jungle pet works, which means that Wukong can get a full clear, hit a nice gank off, and not really be punished for it.
Phenom trying to just do what they can to Meslo as they're going in for some nice trades here. Meslo down to about half HP. Talk about the mid lane a little bit. Nemesis with a level lead over Drew Dozier and has a pretty sizable CS lead to boot.
That's one of the good things about Yone once he hits 6. He's able to apply a lot of pressure, not necessarily by taking good trades, but just the threat of the ultimate being up. Drew Dozier has to be very careful with positioning, and because of that, it looks like they're going to have Prio for Dragon and possibly a free first Drake, and they do. Mountain Drake's going to go to the side of CB Frost.
Yeah, excellent job there by the side of CB Gaming. They are doing a pretty good job, all things considered, despite the bot lane and the top lane having their struggles. Doing well to keep themselves in the game. Go pick up those dragons. You know, those extra resistances, they can only help.
Absolutely. Of course, the Mountain Drake's not necessarily one of the best early Drakes because it does scale with how much armor and magic resist you're going to, but the 9% you get makes a big impact for champions like Fiora and Wukong as you go further into the game.
Yeah, and you know, who knows? It could make the difference in the end. Everybody likes to overlook that sort of thing, but it's not something that really can be overlooked.
No, especially ever since the Dragon patch came to fruition, where they got even more stats onto them. Stacking dragons has been a very, very good win con for plenty of teams.
Yep, and it gets started fairly early here. So we're gonna, you know, could see an early soul, but I mean, you know, are they gonna be able to pick up all of them is really the question. Meslo with another nice engagement onto Phenom, trying to make life difficult. Has carved out a very small CS lead for himself, but with that Bramble Vest, with those plated steel caps, making life hard for Phenom up top.
It is worth mentioning, they have committed 5 to going for this Herald play. where the Redbirds have
everybody's
only committed 4. This is not something you typically see all the time, but it could work out very well for them as we get into the fight here.
Nemesis trying to find a way into the fight, but GFP is going to be able to get out. Tempo's going to hit the Scryer's Bloom, spot 4 members, and they've decided, you know what? They want that Rift Herald, they can have it. Disconnector going to just chill out in the bot lane, farm up quite a bit, make things happen. But here comes Meslo into the fight, drops an ultimate down on to that center. This could be terrible here. Maldad picks up one, Last Dance picks up another. Meslo is low and gets chased and brought down. Nemesis picking that one up. So a fight started by Meslo, but nobody else around to help out. 3-0 for CB.
And unfortunately, basic mathematical principle 5 beats 4 has just turned this game into the favor of CB. I am shocked that ISU decided it was time to take a fight on that. Of course, Seraphine has TP, so she can just TP back to lane afterwards. Ezreal's gonna get a few plates, but if you just commit your members to pushing the lanes while they go for Herald, try to get a couple extra plating, I think it's a lot better than committing to the 5v4 and trying to steal the Herald from them.
And they were not able to come away with that Herald. They lose a lot on top of it. And now it's about 1,000 gold lead for the side of CB Gaming. There are a couple of flashes down, though, so we will have to see if they're going to try to take advantage on the side of ISU.
Of course, CFB has been playing a very heavy-sided towards bot side, and both their flashes are up. So maybe it's time for them to switch it up a bit, try to get Cassante further ahead, or even try to spell disaster for Nemesis in this bot lane, or mid lane, sorry.
Yeah, they're going to need to try to shut him down very soon. 115 CS, 1-0-2. Has just been cruising along, much like Disconnector. And, you know, you figure, hey, we got Disconnector in the back pocket. He's going to be super strong. There's a Yone on the other side that's about as strong.
And if Yone can find a way onto Disconnector, he really doesn't have a chance to survive. Of course, it is hard for Yone to hit his ultimate onto an Ezreal, but if it comes over a nice flank or over a wall or something where he's able to get onto Disconnector, that's their ADC gone.
Phenom continuing to go after Meslo here, starting to deal a lot of damage, has the Divine Sunder in the inventory, and now all of a sudden Fiora is ready to start scrap. It's time.
Yeah, the Divine Sunder is what makes Fiora super strong into matchups against any tank, and it's going to slowly become harder and harder for Meslo to keep side laning against Fiora as we come to the end of laning phase. And we're committing a lot of people right here to a top tower dive on Cassandre. Wukong is here, Yone's here, Fiora is here.
Oh, they're trying to make a play here. Meslo is going to drop the ultimate down. Grand Challenge lands. Ezreal ult is going to hit a couple of members. Here comes GFB. It's a good ultimate from Nemesis as Drew Dozier is in the area. Can't get an ult off. Will finally get it off, but it doesn't have enough damage. GFP trying to get around to defend Drew Dozier, and he does, but it's a 1-0 for CB Gaming. And CB Gaming making things happen. GFB really wanted that Scuttle Crab, will not be able to get it and will die for it. A kill going over to Nemesis. Drew Dozier trying to heal up from the Honey Fruit. Tempos is able to get a kill on the backside. Will they be able to take down Phenom? It's a double kill for Tempos, but now it's a 1v1 against Kisano, and Kisano will be able to walk out without any issues. Multiple kills going over, ends up being a 3-for-2 once the dust settles, and now Dragon is up.
And it was looking like a little bit of a crabber moment as they went in for the Scuttle Crab. But the thing is, tower might get taken by Kisno here. He did place the Rift Herald a little bit early. I think there'll be a little bit of a plate left. But it looks like he's going to take it. And that means that Fiora has been unlocked to travel the map. That's first turret gold into the pocket of Wukong. He's going to come back with the Divine Thunder. And now they're going to start rotating over to that Chem Tank Dragon. And it's looking like it could be a good fight for them if Jarvan's not able to take it in time.
Yeah, GFP starting that up. Disconnector might want to move over very soon. We do see Drew Dozier teleporting in on the way there. Wukong just too far away, so it looks like this Chemtech Drake will go over to the side of the Redbirds, despite taking the bad end of a couple of trades, still able to secure an objective. But the gold lead has started to swell a little bit. It's about 3,000 right now, Romeo. I think the Redbirds may be in danger of this one getting away from them.
Redbirds are certainly in danger after what we have seen. That top fight drew disaster for them, and it's very heavily right now on the Disconnector to be this team's carry. He is the light at the end of the darkness who is going to make his impact known.
See a lot of shielding, but a lot of damage pushed out here by Disconnector with just the Essence Reaver right now. There's sustain at the very least for this bottom lane, so as long as they don't die on a some sort of engagement. They'll be okay, but the pressure is on for this turret as Drew Dozier has moved down now. So it looks like they're going to try to secure this bottom turret. Drew Dozier getting a speed up, unable to find an ultimate, but they will just take the tower for their trouble.
Now, of course, GFB has committed to playing a very, very utility style of build. I wouldn't be surprised if next up we're going to see a Radiant followed by a Black Cleaver on him.
Oh no, Meslo in a lot of trouble here. Is going to be able to ults the clone over the wall, so you would have liked to have the actual Wukong there, but the fact that you escape in a 3v1, that's really all you're looking for.
And that's one of the best things about Cassante, man. The all-out ability is just such a great disengage, because you're leaving, and oftentimes, if it's not the clone, you're taking one with you under that turret, and they are at risk of dying immediately, and you can turn a 3-on-1 in favor of your team.
Disconnector getting chippy here, shifting forward, landing Qs. Knows that Kisno does not have the ultimate available, so why be afraid?
Yeah, absolutely. Rift Herald coming up in 30 seconds. After that trade, they are going to have priority on it. This Rift Herald could be very important to the Redbirds for breaking open some more of the map, maybe taking that mid lane turret, getting some pressure, and start trying to steamroll an advantage when it comes to map pressure rather than just gold.
Yeah, if they can go get that, find a fight, they can really break this game wide open. I think they're in a pretty good spot right now. They still need more scaling out of this bot lane. Armored Maldad is going to need some more time. It's just a matter of can Fiora, Wukong, and Yone get them over the finish line to the point where Senna becomes Thanos.
Absolutely, and with the way it's going, it does very heavily feel like Redbirds are playing from behind on a time limit. And the thing is, they do need to wait for Ezreal to get a little bit stronger before they start committing heavily to team fights when he starts hitting that second, third item spike. But once he hits it, I imagine we're going to be seeing the Redbirds go all out and just trying to find a way to break open the game before Senna Seraphine really come online.
Riftfield has been started up. Ultimate coming over from the Ezreal, but they know they can't fight. Drew Dozier in the bot lane. No teleport available. So this one going over to CB Gaming. They've got an opportunity here if they can make a fight happen. It's still about a 3,000 gold lead. Trying to get this turret down. Meslo trying to chunk it out. Here comes the ultimate from the Seraphine. It's going to hit 2 members. And now looking for maybe a full engagement. We see a teleport coming in. A route onto Meslo as Phenom trying to deal more damage. But Nemesis gets there, but there will be no fight. Rift Herald getting dropped in the mid lane as they're trying to sequester off the Redbirds here. No roots, but a couple of slows coming down. The charge on the Rift Herald will land. Turret going down. Another feather in the cap here for CB.
And this means taking dragons for CB gets a little bit easier. Of course, that bot turret still down on their side. I imagine that's going to be the next big objective they're looking to take. But with Dragon up in 1 minute and 10, they have the mid pry out. They can push that mid wave, walk through the river, and try to contest the Cloud Drake if they choose. Of course, they will have to push up the bot lane to the T1 turret of ISU. But right now, we're seeing everyone back, and it's going to be interesting to see whether they commit Fiora to a split push, or if they're going to go and really hard in for the Dragon, considering how large their gold advantage is at the moment.
Double TPs for the top laners, so they're going to try to meet each other here. Although we do see Phenom taking it back, which means they could elect to go elsewhere in the lane, or even show up to this fight without TP. I mean, why burn the summoner if you don't need to? Meslo is going to need to do a little bit of work of clearing out some minions, but you can already see he's going to be on the move elsewhere. Is jockeying for control of this dragon. ISU trying desperately to get a foothold back on this game. The gold lead still at about 3,000. It hasn't really moved despite a turret being taken by CB. They have the inside track here, and walking into them is pretty dangerous.
It is worth mentioning that... Oh, wow.
Oh, Nemesis went for the ultimate there, but it's a whiff. Drew Dozier with the sidestep, and that is a huge ultimate down for the side of CB. Oh, I think we might see an engagement here. GFP has to flash out of there. Nemesis trying to come in from the side, but no ultimate available. Lots of scrapping going on. Meslo wants to find a knock-up somewhere. Here's the Seraphine ultimate. It lands on 2 members. Nemesis in the middle of things is going to knock up 1, but GFP is going to be able to pick up the kill there onto Nemesis. And it looks like the Dragon will go to the side of the Redbirds.
And it is worth mentioning for that fight, Ezreal had Navori's, which is the new spike on 13.B, where once you have 40% crit, items like IE and Navori start working, and it really shows in that fight by how quickly Nemesis went down.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. And you can see Disconnector is starting to take over the game here. It's gonna be hard here for CB to stop them. It just felt like a very disconnected fight. Nemesis went to go for a pick, and then Last Dance drops their ultimate, but still there was no full committal from the side of CB, and they paid for it.
No, it was a lot of engage, disengage, engage, disengage, but that is a lot better if you're on the side of ISU with champions like Ezreal, with champions like Sante, with champions like Orianna and Jarvan, right? If you're playing engage, disengage, you're getting a lot of poke, and those are things those champions don't mind doing. Especially Karma-empowered Q and things like that. But also, they had a massive whiff on the Yone stun. That landing could have been the difference between them winning and losing the fight. But with a masterful sidestep, it really just put the game in the favor of ISU.
Yeah, it's crazy because Drew Dozier didn't even need to flash that. Now, I wouldn't quite say it's a full favor here, as there's still a gold lead for the side of CB Gaming. They have the scaling advantage as well. The Redbirds, you know, that's gonna make them feel at least a little bit better about the direction of this game right now. They're only down a kill, they're only down one turret, although you know, Nemesis is looking to make it down 2 turrets at this point. It just feels like ISU needs to find that one fight, find one Orianna ultimate, and you can turn this entire game back in your favor.
Absolutely, especially if that Orianna ultimate is on somebody who's really important to their team fight, like a Seraphine or Yone.
See Nemesis in the 1v1 with Meslo here. It looks like Nemesis getting the better of Meslo, and I mean, 2-2 and 3, the scoreline doesn't look as impressive as it once did. 189 CS, has the Blade of the Ruined King though, and that certainly does work against Cassandra.
Yes, it absolutely does. It's a big pickup, and it's also going to be pretty nice once they start trying to ult people like Jarvan, as Bork just deletes champions that are in like a bruiser or tankier side of the meta. But also, I mean, we're still going to be seeing Yone try to flex the main targets of Orianna and Ezreal, because those two champions are essential to ISU winning any fight. If Disconnector goes down, it's still very much of a lost hope from the side of the Redbirds, and I think that's going to be really interesting as we see people start jockeying for control of the Baron Pit.
Yeah, Tempos has done a pretty good job on these fights of making sure that Disconnector is protected. Obviously, the Arcane Shift is one thing, but the shielding, you know, you also have the mythic item on the side of this Karma right now that helps out with the movement speed. It's good. It's good. It's going to make sure that Disconnector is able to just kind of chill out, fire some Qs, and use the Arcane Shift judiciously to go and close out on kills.
Of course, Shurelia's will be a very strong acquirement to the side of ISU, but that being said, Wukong just picked up Black Cleaver, and I think Black Cleaver is a very, very strong item since the B patch has rolled out, and on the champions like Cassante, I think we're going to start seeing the main tank go, oh wow.
Oh, Last Dance goes down. Lots of abilities used there. Drew Dozier popping the ultimate as well as Disconnector. And the Redbirds force down the mid lane turret and take out the Seraphine. Now we see a couple of pings going down on the Baron. They're going to start it up, but it is warded up here, Romeo.
I gotta say, this is still very scary for the side of ISU. Wukong is one of the best junglers at stealing Baron. The W's over the Baron and it's invisible.
Gizno trying to find a way into the pit, and it is taken down by the side of the Redbirds, and now a fight's going to break out. We see a knockup coming through from the Wukong. Nemesis has to snap back to reality. Drew Dozier is going to be able to pick up the kill on the Wukong, but here comes the teleport. Last Dance has joined the party. Phenom on the backside goes down. Ultimate lands. It's only on to GFP, although he's going to get hit up by Nemesis and taken down. Other side of the fight, Meslo able to take out the Senna, and now Tempos is going to be able to walk it out with the speed up on the shield. So a Baron picked up by the side of the Redbirds, and it's a fight that goes their way as well. It's a 3-for-2.
I think it was really interesting the angle Wukong wanted to take. Of course, we've seen Yone headed up from the top side, and Seraphine was alongside them. But honestly, I think it could have been played better from the side of CB. I think Wukong going over that wall could have been really strong if you're looking for the steal. But committing to a fight there's very difficult because you're, once again, down numbers. But we've seen a lot of committing to fights when these teams are down numbers, and it has not been working out well for them. Of course, Baron is going to be used to try to take a fight in this Dragon Pit, which is honestly one of the better places you want to try to get rid of their Baron when they don't have a wave crashing in. So these next 30 seconds could be very, very crucial to either of these teams breaking ahead.
Looks like the side of the Redbirds are looking to put themselves onto Soul Point here. CB Gaming doesn't seem all that interested in trying to go up against that, so it will be secured. It is Cloud Soul Point for the side of the Redbirds, and now the push is on. They're moving everybody down to this bot lane, try to maybe make a play onto Phenom, or they just really want this turret. You see Nemesis on the other side of the map is split pushing in kind as a Jack show, so you can't really go after him, but he will teleport without taking out a turret. He is going to show up. Kino from the side. It's a 4-man knockup. This is the wombo combo that they wanted. Let's see how the fight shakes out. It's going to be 1 kill for the Wukong. Disconnector gets taken out by Phenom. And Meslo in the middle of multiple members tries to ult out, but he can't. It's a 3 for nothing for the side of CB Gaming. And you know they're not done yet as they're trying to get onto Drew Dozier. Phenom dashing forward. GFP trying to do anything, but you can't do anything without committing. Phenom still in hot pursuit. Takes a huge QW to the face. Tries to parry to save themselves some damage. Drew Dozier's out of mana. Drew Dozier's out of room. Drew Dozier is down.
What a fight was just taken for CB Gaming. That is the way to get a lead in your favor. They turned the Baron with a picture-perfect ultimate combo in that bot lane, and now the push is on. They're gonna take this T2 bot turret. Sure, they're not on Soul Point, but they just got 4,000 gold into their pocket.
You talked about it in Champions Select. Kisno with a fantastic flank. Nobody saw that coming on the side of the Redbirds.
And of course, the double knockup, including his clone, had so much range to it, and they were able to knock up pretty well the entirety of the Redbirds. They didn't even have a chance to move before half their team was taken off the map.
This has been a really wild game, to be honest with you. The Redbirds and CB Gaming, it looks like they're just two starkly contrasting teams right here. The Redbirds were content to take it a little bit slower, focus more on the objectives. Meanwhile, CB Gaming, their team fight composition, you finally saw it come together. We saw some shades of it in some certain fights do really well, but that's really what you want. They held the line.
Yes, and Senna's currently sitting at 77 souls at the moment. She has been scaling throughout the course of the game, and the longer this game goes, the stronger Maudad is going to get. But at the moment, Phenom looks like they might be in a bit of trouble.
They've snuffed this one out, but they know the engagement is on. They're trying to get a lot of damage down, but not too much that can be done. They'll force her off, and they will be able to take that top turret. Kisno wants to find a way in, has that Guardian Angel, is now on 3 items. So important for this Wukong as we go into the later game to make sure they don't get immediately blown up.
And the thing with Guardian's Angels is it really allows him to keep taking flank angles like that. Because even if he goes down, his team has time to clean up before that proc happens. And we're getting a TP here. It looks like a fight.
Yeah, I thought it looked like they thought Nemesis was going to go in and drop the ultimate. Had 3 members that they could do it to, but it will be the Fiora TP down. Now, the fight is on. 5 members in the mid lane here for the Redbirds. They're looking for something here. This dragon is up in about 2 minutes. They want to make something happen, want to force this down. Kisno from the side, as well as Nemesis. They're going to try to take down this turret. Here comes Kisno. They're going to make it happen again. Kisno with the flash is going to be able to knock up and find Drew Dozier, but can they find any more? Nemesis on top of Tempos, trying to burst him out, and he does. Will go down. Now Meslo ulting away the Phenom, but Meslo taking a lot of damage. They're going to try to go into Phenom, but it's a 5v3. Why are you taking this 5v3? Disconnector's in a lot of trouble as Kisno's on top of him. Disconnector goes down. GFP goes down as well. Maybe not. They'll find him, I'm sure, trying to desperately run away, but Phenom will look to chase him down, waiting on the dash, and you know, he's going down.
Holding him there so that his back timer is even longer for when Baron spawns.
So smart. We've seen a lot of players start making that happen. GFP down for 40 seconds with Baron up in about 28. Turret taken mid-inner for CB Gaming, and now they have the world in their hands.
20 seconds till the Baron spawns. They've taken the mid turret. They've taken the bot turret. Orianna has TP to the top turret, and they're setting up for this Baron, and right after, they're going to be running for that dragon to try to prevent the soul. Fiora and Wukong looking for a pick here.
Meslo could be in trouble here. It's a good route onto Drew Dozier. He couldn't get close with the ultimate, and now Kisno on top of this Orianna. It's going to be problems. Drew Dozier will fall as Maldad picks him up. Oh, last dance. Barely able to survive. Tempo's trying to do what they can to try to get Phenom taken down, but the rest of the squad is here. The Baron has been started up. The damage is going to come down onto CB quickly. Nemesis snapping back, trying to get onto this Baron. It's down to about 7,000 HP. It's a 5v3 right now. The last 5v3 didn't go so well. Kizno with a 3-man knockup, making things happen. Another kill here for Nemesis. Down goes Disconnector, and the Baron gets restarted. CB in full control.
What a fight from CB. They are on point right now. This Wukong and Yone combos have been picture perfect. The flanks, incredible. Phenom setting up for such a nice play to go down for the side of CB, and they are getting so much reward for it. They are up 19-9. They have Baron. They're going to most likely prevent this soul unless GFB can steal. But even if he does, it's only Cloud Soul.
GFP, what can you do? Armored Maldad, very aggressive up here, can get bursted out. GFP trying to find a way in, but they are going after him. Will force a flag and drag out. Tempo's in a lot of trouble. Drew Dozier in the thick of things. They will be able to pick up a kill onto the setup, but Drew Dozier is going to fall next. GFP, I don't know if they can find a way in. Ezreal going, not landing on many. GFP get a flag and drag over, but there's wards everywhere. Dragon goes down, and now Jarvan is between a rock and a hard place. If you flag and drag over the wall, you're going to go right into the waiting hands of the Seraphine. Another kill here, and CB Gaming is running all over the Redbirds.
It is going to take a miracle on Bourbon Street for the Redbirds to come back into this game one of the NA qualifiers. It is looking really tough for them. We've seen Disconnector kind of starting to fall off. He has a very hard time right now trying to position in these fights, and it's not his fault. You got a fed Yone to deal with. You got thousands of encores flying your way, and Kizno is just appearing.
There's a good flash and a good dash by Meslo there. They are able to find a kill on the Last Dance, and it's something. They are going to get a shutdown for that. The Redbirds want to come back into this game. It's going to take, as they say in baseball, a bloop and a blast and a bloop and a blast. And right now, they're getting kills. As long as you get some kills, force the 5v5 down mid lane, maybe, get a kill, set some death timers, get another kill, get a turret, get another kill. You could be back in it.
You absolutely could, and right now it looks like that's what they are trying to do. They've just taken the T2 mid turret. They're gonna go for the T3. Might I say maybe even the inhib if they can find it.
This is so aggressive, but they're making it happen. There's 2 turrets. Gonna go after the inhibitor, as you mentioned. They just walked up two turrets, took an inhibitor, explained nothing, and walked out.
I have been very against taking 45, but if you are CP, it might be worth it there when the T3 tower is up. You have the Baron minions, and the 4 of you are very, very strong. But they opted not to, and now they're going to have an inhibitor down to deal with as these next objectives start spawning in 3 minutes.
Ultimately, it was the smart move, because if you take that fight and you lose, the game is over. Drew Dozier gets engaged on by Kizno, and Kizno is just so much damage right now. Dozier will fall. Nemesis from the side is going to drop the ultimate. He's going to find Tempos, and look at the chunks that are done to Tempos. They immediately come back, find 2 kills, maybe looking for more. Last Dance flashing over the wall. Nemesis could be in trouble, snaps back, but manages to survive, but this turret is heated up and is doing a lot of damage to these members. GFP goes down next. Meslo and Disconnector, the only 2 left surviving. They said, you're going to take our inhibitor? Fine. Come back and punch him in the face. And now they're on to the Nexus turrets, Romeo. Here comes the teleport as well. Meslo trying to go unstoppable, trying to make things happen. Disconnector from the side, shifting away, goes down, and CB Gaming are going to win the first game in their Swiss.
And that is how you want to perform in your first match in these qualifiers. What a game we just had between CB and ISU.
What a fantastic game. And the early game was so tight for a long time. It was a really good back and forth matchup, but in compositions like this, you have to set the egg timer. And once that timer goes off, if you haven't won the game, I got bad news for you, son.
Absolutely. Senna was able to provide such an impact as we came into the late games. But I gotta say, Kizno was insane. I've seen some good Wukong players, but those flanks were incredible.
Yeah, Kizno was playing 4D chess while everybody else was playing, like, I don't know, hopscotch, not even checkers, bro. Like, Kizno was just on a different plane of existence, ascended to whatever plane that Wukong goes to literally embodied Sung Wukong in that game and ran over the Redbirds.
Yeah, it was just incredible to watch. Of course, GFB was not slacking by any means. That early game, he ran through, but Kizno took it calm, waited for that ultimate, and found ways to help steamroll the game out of control. We've seen a great matchup in the top lane between Meslo and Phoenix. Of course, Meslo did as much as he could early, but the second Fiora got that Divine Sunderer, there wasn't much more he could do. But I think the biggest theme is we've seen a lot of fights that are not going to work out going into it, and these teams were still kind of taking it anyways, and I think that's something that's going to have to get cleaned up as we go into the second round of the Swiss.
Yeah, and for the Redbirds, it's a tough loss to take. I mean, this team, we talked about it earlier, they got a lot of studs on their team. It just looked like that it didn't quite come together, and when you take a look at their team and their draft, Orianna Ezreal takes, they are scaling champions, although they have a little bit of early game power to them. It just looked like they were going to get outscaled, and it was doomed to fail unless they got a huge early advantage, which GFP did a good job of getting an early advantage, but was not able to push it any further.
Yeah, and that's pretty well how the game went. They got very close. They put themselves in soul point. They had a lot there for them, but ultimately, come the end, after the 10k gold gap, it just went straight downhill.
And not good, but a great showing here from CB. Very happy to see that 1-0 in their Swiss, which means they are one step closer for qualifying to the group and bracket stage. But there are plenty more games to go, at least one more today. We are going to cut it to a break. There's quite a bit of a gap in between these games, I believe. It might be about an hour break, I think. Don't quote me on that if I'm incorrectly, but once we figure out the other team that CB is playing against and they are ready to go, we will go to that game. So keep us on another tab. Make sure you got the volume on so you can hear our great voices when we return. We are going to cut it to a break, and when we return, we'll have the draft at least for the next game, and CB will be able to take on whoever their opponents are. They should be quaking in their boots. Alrighty, everybody, we have finally returned after our long layoff. It takes a little bit of time to make sure that everybody is all back and situated, but we are here. Game 2 of CB Gaming's North American Challenger League Open Qualifier run. Yanni and Romeo still bringing you all the action on the cast. And Romeo, they got a big task ahead of them here against Dewey and Tony Top. With the first pick, Ash, being locked in, CB's response is going to go Jin at the very least. But take me through these bans at the very least.
Well, to begin, first off, CB Gaming took out Jax, Maokai, and Sejuani. Not a surprise, Tony Top is a hardcore Jax man. Incredible on that champion. If you go to his Twitter, you can see him taking out players like 369. It's just absolutely incredible on the Jax. Maokai, strongest jungler this meta by far. Last game, we seen Wallflower bring it out and cream house with it, so not a surprise that we got a ban there. And then Sejuani is also something that Wallflower has a high win rate on. On the other side, Senna, we just seen play. They scaled well. Kindred's also a very impressive jungler. And of course, the Wukong is gone after just how hard it carried last game. So,
yeah, Kizno just went ham on that thing.
These bans make so much sense to me.
They do. We're going to see another Orianna getting picked against CB Gaming here. It didn't go so hot last time around for Drew Dozier, but this time Sudsy is going to be on it, and they had a pretty good game last time around on that Orianna in round 1.
The Maokai-Orianna duo is what helped clean Contingent out of that game and bring Douyin to a first win in that Swiss round 1. So I wouldn't be surprised if we've seen another jungler that combos really well with Orianna. We could see potentially a Jarvan. I know that used to be a really good combo in the past. We've been seeing it come to light a lot more often, but we'll have to see, because whatever it is, it's also going to play well into Viego.
And it's also going to play well into a Blitzcrank. They locked in Caitlyn on the side of Douyin and Tony Top, so Blitzcrank against Caitlyn Ash, while you can get poked out, if you land a hook, somebody's going down.
Absolutely. Jin, Blitz, you can root someone forever with those two as well. But yeah, Caitlyn Ash is going to be a really impressive lane. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of jungle influence in the bot lane, which makes me, I almost feel like we might see a Xin Zhao get broken, because I know he plays well into Viego and he can do a lot in the early game. Which right now, early game pressure is something I think you want if you are Douyin.
Couple of champions taken off the board. Kassadin gone. Thanos champion on this most recent patch has gotten. We've gone back to season 3, my friend, where you're banning Kassadin pretty much every game. CB takes out Cassante and Fiora, clearly focusing down Tony Top because, I mean, you talked about it yourself. He was killing players like 369 back when Champions Queue was open in NA and, players from Worlds were here, just absolutely dumpstering some of the best top laners in the world. See Volibear getting taken off the table, trying to pinch the pool of Wallflower, former Golden Guardians jungler, better known as Iconic. So you know that they can play pretty much anything. They are going to show up and show out. They've got a bunch of synergy with Tony Top. That mid-jungle duo is going to be something CB has to really watch out for. We are going to see a Victor lock-in going over to Nemesis.
I think that's a really strong lock-in on the side of CB. It gives them some of that late-game scaling that they played so well with last game. And of course, Victor is going to open a lane where last time we seen Orianna get super strong. You can't really do that as easily against a Victor. He can just shove the wave, chillax, and wait for himself to scale. He provides a lot of presence there. I think this means mid lane is just going to be a very heavily scaling game, and it's going to be about which mid laner can affect the team fights more.
Camille, Zach, the pickups here for Dewey and Tony Top. This Zach pickup I really like. You take a look at CB's roster of champions they got going on. There's not a whole lot of mobility there. That Zach is going to stick to him.
And also, once you toss the ball onto Zach from Orianna, he just gets that much more tanky while he's engaging on the fights. It is a very, very strong pickup. Plus, Camille's able to follow him up really well, and you can be sending Ash arrows after him. So it just provides a lot of coverage for Caitlyn and Ash just do their thing in the backline, while Zach and Camille are just bullying the entire front roster of CB.
Phenom throws down the gauntlet, picking Darius into this Camille. You are a top lane purveyor. We see Phenom does play quite a bit of Darius. Into the Camille, that's going to be a really bloody matchup, especially with these junglers as well.
I think it's really interesting for Phoenix to make the pick on Darius. It really shows how confident he's going to be going into this match, and it's going to make this game make or break for CB. That Every lane right now, besides mid, looks like it could get pretty bloody. On the bottom side, you have the Blitz Jhin. You're looking for a lucky hook to try to steamroll your advantage pre-6. And then you have Caitlyn Ashe, who is just consistently oppressive, right? But in the top lane, it's very much who can get ahead. I believe Darius is favored in the Camille versus Darius matchup. But if Camille's able to find a way to break down Phoenix, which, to be fair, this player is an amazing player, Tony Top, the namesake of the team, it could go out of control. So it's going to be interesting to see the risk versus reward factor of this top lane and how Viego and Zach are going to play a massive impact into which laner gets ahead.
Yeah, that does have a huge impact on the game, but what else has a huge impact on the game? You take a look at these teams side by side. I mean, Dewey and Tony Top, they've got the go button from long range with Ashe. You've got the Orianna Zach combo. But on the side of CB, it's really blitz hook or bust.
It very well is. It's really your only engage that's preferable without getting anyone killed in the process. I mean, obviously, we're probably going to see a Flash Ghost Darius looking for the E's and whatnot. Flash E trying to pull people in. But overall, it is very heavily on the support of CB to be proficient and make a lot of plays, both around the map and in team fight. If he gets a hook to start off a team fight, it's almost a guaranteed win for CB as long as it's even. But if he misses, it could spell disaster.
Right, and then Victor is your only way of trying to keep them off of the waves. Ashe, Orianna, Caitlyn, they can certainly put the screws to you, deal a lot of damage once those blitz hooks, miss, and you're kind of just left sitting there until, something else happens or until Zach pulls the trigger. But we've talked about these team compositions. Let me ask you, Romeo, who do you think is going to win this game?
Oh, I mean, it's tough. You have a lot of very experienced players. You have a lot of players who are very good at playing with each other on CB. It could go either way. I think I lean a little bit more towards Douyin with their draft. But overall, it really depends on the way the state of the game goes and how many Blitzcrank hooks are landed.
And that is going to be a big deal in this game. Everybody in the chat, tell us whether or not you think CB is going to win this game, or if you think Dewey and Tony Top is going to take this one down. It's the 18-seeded CB Gaming against the 3rd-seeded Dewey and Tony Top. It's a bit of a David versus Goliath type matchup, but if CB plays like their last game, they can beat anybody.
I think that is the best way you can really say it. In this game, despite the past of both these teams and players, it could go either side. It's a best of one. Anything can happen in a best of one. Douyin as a 5-man, it's the first time going into a tournament as 5 together. Of course, Wallflower and Tony Top have played before on a professional level inside of academies, even on the LCS stage. So they have a lot of experience together. But as 5, CB plays very well together. So we really have to see who's going to be able to take the cake. I'm really interested to see these laning phases and especially how the team fights are played.
Anything can happen once you get on the Rift, and we're going to be on the Rift shortly as we are in the spectator delay. And when we return, it'll be the final game of the Open Qualifiers for today. CB Gaming looking to knock off Dewey and Tony Top. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here on Summoner's Rifts, CB Gaming versus Douyin Tony Top. Let's be honest, it's TikTok's version, China's version of TikTok. It's the same thing. TikTok Tony Top sounds so cool.
TikTok Tony Top is the man, the myth, the legend, who will be going one-on-one with the Phenom in that top lane.
The Undertaker.
Go one-on-one with the Undertaker.
So I find something very interesting here. So most teams go into the bot lane and drop that ward, but are you surprised that the Blitzcrank team just elected not to invade, just a line of scrimmage setup?
Yes and no. I mean, on one hand, yeah, Blitz is a great hook, but on the other, their level 1 isn't the best. You have Jhin, you have Victor, not the strongest level 1s comparatively to the side of TikTok Tony Top, where you got Camille, you got Zac, you got Caitlyn, you got Ashe, who can do a lot of damage early on into the game.
See how this one develops for both junglers. Starting up on the top side, we could see a cheeky level 2 gank out of Wallflower because, Zac's ability to be able to make that sort of thing happen. We could see the same thing for this Viego, but posturing over toward that blue buff does get spotted out by Sudsy, does get pinged out.
He's going for the steal.
Yeah, Phenom also in the area as well. This is really big. They're going to push Iconic off to his wolves. That is going to allow Tony Top to get into lane first and have an EXP lead, but they're doing a good job of setting behind Iconic early.
That could be really, really big if Phenom can just play safe for the early levels and get to level 2 without Tony Top trading too much with him. You take away the blue buff from Zac effectively, they're still roughly on point with the camp rotations because they just kind of stole it from him, which means they're still going to get on the map at roughly the same time, and Zac's clear is now very, very messy. So I think that was a really, really strong play to open this game from CB.
As you predicted, it's Ghost Flash Darius up in the top lane. Very interesting choice by Snow in the bottom lane. Went with the Ignite, so looking for a bit more of an aggressive angle if they can abuse this Blitzcrank.
Yeah, usually you might see something like an exhaust against a Jhin, especially if you can time it with this 4th shot, because it takes a big chunk of damage. But I think if someone gets hooked down there, it seems like they're just going to go all in and really just take the fight, try to prevent it, which can be a good strategy against Blitz if the damage isn't there. And considering they have Jhin, the damage won't always be there.
Opted to go into Hail of Blades as well, so we're not going to see a Comet, which you normally will often see out of Ashe, especially in a Blitzcrank lane, but I like the confidence here from Snow. Doesn't afraid of anything. You can see Phenom doing a good job of making sure they're out of turret range, trying to put the screws to Tony Top early. You do see Wallflower around the bottom lane. The hook does land on Snow. Snow takes a 4th shot right to the face. Ignite gets burnt. Flash down for the support side of Douyin Tony Top.
And again, although Jhin and Blitz is a great combo, the damage of Jhin early isn't always the best when you're landing hooks. It was a great hook by Armored, got a lot accomplished. We got the flash down, but the kill wasn't there. Speaking of kills being there, though,
Wallflower just coming up a little bit short, but will relieve some pressure here for Sudsy in the mid lane, as they've taken the bad end of a lot of trades here from the Victor. Nemesis is doing a great job in lane so far against both of his opponents.
I do find it very difficult to play laning phase into Victor, especially sometimes as Orianna, because I find Victor has very, very good wave control with that laser. Look, he set up almost a perfect freeze if he wanted to take it back, that it was acting like he was going to. He burnt the TP already. He still has his TP available. No back yet. And Ori's only coming back with a tier. Nemesis has been doing an incredible job right now in that mid lane.
Yeah, I find it hard to lane against the Victor when I play Orianna just because I can't dodge lasers to save my life. I gotta be real with you.
Nah, they're very difficult to dodge, especially when it gets to that tier 2, tier 3 laser that blasts the lane as well, so you have to stay away from that spot for longer, and it can really mess up your positioning and help your jungler with ganks if you pull it off right.
Kizno in the area, looking to clear out this ward, maybe protect the pink here. Phenom has to go pick up the wave, though, because they are down a level, so that doesn't mean the pink gets taken out. It was good timing by Kizno, but Tony Top sniffed that one out and continues to have control of this lane despite taking some damage from this Darius. Now has themselves a small CS lead, has themselves that EXP lead that we talked about was going to be so important.
The thing with Viego and Zac is, honestly, I do feel like the level 6 spike on Viego is a little bit better than Zac because of his execute. So nothing happening here isn't bad at all, but I mean, We just burnt a flash out of Camille there, so I guess something is happening. But overall, no kills being taken. I think that's a little bit better for Kizno, because once he gets them executed is where the real plays can start happening on Viego. And Zach is a guy who can gank early and do a lot, and nothing's really happened on the side of Iconic here.
Absolutely right. Solid stuff here out of Kizno, who has, played really well so far. Pretty much a spotless day one of qualifier. Obviously, we're still just about 6 minutes into this game, so there is there's a whole game ahead of us, Romeo. So we'll have to see if he's able to keep it up, but so far has been the lifeblood of CB Gaming.
Yes, he has. That last game, we've seen some amazing plays out of him playing Wukong, but I believe he does have a little bit more confidence on Viego from looking at his match history and whatnot. He seems to play this champion a little bit more, if I'm correct about that. So it should be interesting to see what type of creative plays we can get from Viego. I know he doesn't have as much in his kit to be doing some of those crazy combos we've seen out of Wukong, but there is certainly a lot you can do with Viego.
These junglers set up in their respective lanes, and Wallflower shows up and gets a successful gank off, forcing the flash out of the Jhin. Kizno spent a lot of time up top, but couldn't do too much more. Darius had the back, which meant that Tony Top was able to teleport back and get the shove in. So things looking a little bit better as he's able to scratch out some CS leads.
Yes, and that mid lane is looking wild, but that Scuttle Crab fight might be looking wild as well.
Yeah, Kizno is going to be able to pick that one up, but Wallflower can't grab anything else to slam them together. Did see Nemesis on the way, so elected, you know what, this is not a good time to pick a fight. Maybe it is, though. Wallflower on top of Nemesis. Here comes Levitate trying to pinch them together. There's the ultimate out from that Victor, but here comes Maldad flashing over the wall. Finds a knock-up. Nemesis goes low. Has to go away. First blood going over. Blitzcrank lands another hook. Kizno is in full retreat, though. They cannot continue the fight. A 1-0, and it's a first blood. Everybody who predicted bot lane getting first blood, you've won your predictions. We're all so smart.
What a ballsy fight there taken from Iconic, though. He went in a very well-placed trap from Nemesis. And the thing was, you have a guy with ult there from CB, but it took Kratos a lot of time to move over to that river, which meant there was no ultimates up on the side of TikTok. So it really meant it was still an insanely close fight. Nemesis, of course, still had the flash up, was able to get away, and the first blood's taken by CB. Now, it's on Blitzcrank, which doesn't necessarily do all that much, but it's still a gold advantage on the side of CB. Plus, they picked up that Scuttle pre-Dragon, so they can't do Dragon without getting caught out. So, a pretty big fight for CB there.
Yeah, you'll absolutely take it. It does give a little bit of breathing room to the bottom lane of Last Dance and Maldad. And, it just allows Nemesis, although Nemesis is now down a flash, doesn't mean he's a little bit more vulnerable to a future gank. Still doing okay, is down in CS, but that's generally okay. As long as you're going even, things are fine. You got the assist in your pocket as well. It's nice that they're doing things around the map.
The thing with an assist on Victor is it gets him that much closer to a tier 2 laser, which is a big spike for him.
All right, and we'll have to see how that big spike affects this game. Who do you think is going to come out on top for this game? Predictions are live. Listen, if that first fight is anything to go off of, hey, CB is not in a bad spot here, and we might even see another fight here. There's a flash into a pole. Tony Chop trying to hook shot away, but he gets stunned up by Kizno, who is up in the area once again, going to drop the ultimate down. Hextech ultimatum is there, but Dunkin' Donuts Darius able to pick up a kill. Meanwhile, Oriana there with Wallflower able to pick up the kill onto Victor. Talked about that just a moment ago. The flashless Victor is very easy to take.
A flashless Victor, absolutely. If he's outside of his tower range, that's pretty well a free kill for you. And that top lane, we had a lot burnt, and now we're looking like we're going to be trading objectives. That Herald's going to be going to the side of CB. Dragon might be going to the side of Doyen, it looks like right now, because they have just such pressure onto it. There's 4 of them down there. But this means that the volatile top lane is now on the side of the Phenom. He's got a kill. He's got the 15 CS. He's got some plating. After that back, that can be really, really big for snowballing a lead onto your Darius.
It's a huge swing of gold, but this is also a valuable Drake going over to Doyen Tony Top. Again, Rift Herald, as you mentioned, picked up by the side of CB Gaming. So it really depends on where they're going to drop it. Right now, these junglers matching each other with multiple moves.
Yes, they are. Everything that Kisno tries to do, Zach has very heavily been trying to replicate it on the other side of the map, as we've seen with that Victor gank. The other thing with Orianna getting some gold is she is a strong source of AP damage on the side of Douyin.
Yeah, and is really the only source. I mean, obviously Zach does a lot of damage, but you know, it's more so over the course of the game rather in large bursts and fights. So, you know, you get this Orianna rolling, especially after those buffs. You know, her power has been put through the roof essentially. So these fights could get really crazy. You see Phenom is itching for another fight up there. Just missed the apprehend, but wanted a piece of Tony Top.
Looking to hit Tony Top with the last ride and try to really take him out of this lane if he can get to another. He's already got the Iron Spike Whip. He's got the Ninja Tabs, which means fights for him right now are very, very safe to take, provided Wallflower's not in the area. And with the ward he just placed, he's very easily able to track Wallflower anytime that guy wants to go for a creative gank.
Right, and even with the Sheen on the side of Tony Top, the fights are still going to be a little hard for them to take. Tony Top still has that experience lead, though. Keep that in mind. Oh, so much gold worth of experience. We're going to try to make a play on the mid lane here onto this Orianna, and Orianna's got nowhere to go. Kisno able to pick that one up.
And just like that, the swing keeps staying a little bit in the favor of CB here. The Aegyo getting a kill is really, really nice for you. It means he's able to do a lot more to impact the map. We might potentially start seeing him try to invade Wallflower, but...
Oh no! He pulled in Nemesis, which meant the ult went wide, but still picked up there by the Zac. I thought maybe there would be a chance, but, you know, I said that Zac didn't have a whole lot of damage, but maybe I was wrong. That was way more than I expected. Riverside getting dropped in the top lane, lots of gold getting split across the top and jungle of the side of CB. The first turret will go down.
And I think that is a really good thing to do. They seen Tony Top at the back. They brought the Herald. It might even get a second crash here. I don't think so. Orianna most likely can stop it, but there's a potential for a second crash here. It almost hit.
Good stop.
Not all
Good
the way.
stop. Listen, this is why these players are some of the best. You know, they go that extra mile and they make sure that thing's dead.
Yeah, you don't want to get two crashes after you just lost your first turret. There is so much gold though between Kinso and Phenom. We thought Tony Top and Wallflower might be a very big top jungle duo, but it seems Wallflower has elected to play more with Kratos at the moment.
Yeah, and you know what? It's working out pretty well, although we see Armored Maldad showing up here. Good dodge there by Kratos Thor. I mean, using the W as the extra movement speed to be able to dodge the Blitzcrank, very crafty move.
It is worth mentioning, though, with these supports often favoring these sides of the roams, Caitlyn has been able to get a sizable advantage over Jhin. She's coming back to lane with a Gale Force, whereas Jin's still a little bit behind from hitting his Mythic. He elected to go for the Boots of Swiftness, which is a solid decision considering how the movement speed affects his passive, and staying away from Zac and Ash Arrows. But he has been left alone down there for quite some time.
Yeah, but you know what? That's okay. You know, you've got a level lead now over Levitate, and Maldad has been putting the pressure out elsewhere, which has been very, very important. You see they're looking for Snow here. They're going to pull them over the wall. Snow going to barely get out there as they were on the right side of the blast plant. Meanwhile, Tony Top going up top, doing a lot of damage to Phenom, but here is Wallflower on a ward, and nowhere to go is Phenom. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Snow gets re-engaged on, has a flash available, but will fall. Phenom in trouble, getting chased down by Tony Top. They are going to land the dunk. It's going to do a lot of damage, and unfortunately, Wallflower unable to continue. Tony Top will bleed but survive. And how about that? Jungler up top but can't get anything done.
That's gotta hurt if you are on the side of Douyin. You go for the 2v1 on a champion, and there's a lot of gold on him if you can get the kill. Meanwhile, bot side, you lose your support in favor of a Jhin kill, which very heavily puts Last Dance back into an even, if not better position than Levitate. So it's a really rough trade if you're Douyin at the moment.
Good stuff coming out of the side of CB. They're looking real good right now. They are setting up for this dragon. Everybody looks like they're headed down. Tony Top up top because they have teleport advantage. Remember, Phenom does not have that one available, but the setup here, CB manages to get there first. It's a matter of what goes on from here. We can see Iconic moving over to the top side, trying to clear out some of that top side vision. Maldad looking to find this Orianna, unable to though, does get hit with the ultimate and now gets put in the bounce house, and they will find the Blitzcrank. TikTok Tony Top with the advantage.
And that's going to be a kill for a dragon. But Rift Herald spawning soon means they will have the pressure on it. However, Victor getting a nice split push in while they're all up top. He might be able to get that bot T1, which could be big for expanding the map on the side of CB for future dragons.
And I like the idea that they just gave that dragon up because laning phase is pretty much over, and that Ocean Drake is not as strong as it is as your first dragon. You do see that Rift Herald getting started up on the top side by Iconic. You see Kizno in the bottom lane, wants to really pressure this turret, and they will take it. Tony Top does have to back off.
Up top, we are getting the Herald taken from Wallflower. It's pretty much theirs with Kizno being in the bot lane. Phenom kind of looking for something there. Not much gonna happen. The thing is, 2 T1 towers are down right now on the side of Doyen. They've really broke open the map on CP, which may be their greatest asset moving forward into the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, it's been a pretty fantastic showing here for CB so far. We see Phenom looking to find this Orianna up in the top lane. The ultimate goes down. Here comes Wallflower. Phenom doing a pretty good job with the side steps, but is in a lot of trouble right now. About half HP. You can see on the other side of the fight, Blitzcrank able to pick up a kill, but Orianna gets that one. 3-1 right now for this Orianna. Is ready to get massive, but this could be another turret for CB.
It's hard to really figure out who's getting an advantage here with how bouncing back and forth this game has been. That TP, great TP, stopping that mid turret from going, and you can't let that mid turret fall right now.
Tony Top, they missed the hook shot, they flashed for it, and they died. Kizno on top of Levitate, trying to chase him down, will land a stun, drops the ultimate. It's a double kill for this Viego, and the teleport play put on by Tony Top, and CB responds with a counter punch.
Wow, that was a great counterattack, and what's pretty well the first big team fight we've seen happen on the map going into the set of CB. A lot of gold just placed onto Viego there. He's going to have that 300 gold bounty. He already has Divine. He has Mercury Treads, and he's going to be getting pretty close to that second item.
Yeah, and that's really, really bad news for the side of Tony Top's team. They've spotted out Victor, though, with that nice ultimate from Snow. That's going to be another kill going over to Orianna. 4-1 right now. Starting to get into the danger zone here. This champion can take over this game.
I think the biggest problem we've been seeing from the side of CB is Victor has been walking into a lot of lanes where they don't have vision of where Wallflower is, which has been costing his life on repeat.
Rafael getting dropped in the top lane here. Looks like Orianna wants to get the push out. Maybe take out a turret. Nobody's really over to cover, although Last Dance and Kizno are on the way. But Orianna knows you can't really do too much more. They're going to hang around in the area. Charge is going to go off. Turret will go down. So finally a lifeline here for Tony Top. They're able to get their first of the game.
We're going to start seeing resets and vision control placed around the Dragon Pit as Inferno spawns in 1:30. This could be a very, very big dragon for both these teams with how burst damage oriented they both are.
Right, and with this 3,000 gold lead on the side of CB Gaming, if another big fight like that goes their way and they take out 3 members, they could break this game wide open, Romeo.
They absolutely could. The biggest things they're looking for right now is that mid T1 and that dragon. If they can get that mid T1 before dragon is... Oh, wow.
Oh, they're going to try to go in, but here's Maldad around to make sure everybody's okay. So that Ashe ultimate down for at least a little longer. This is a big engagement tool off the table for Tony Top's team.
Yes, and we're starting to engage over the river. Both teams still trying to get that advantage in the mid lane. We already have... CB Gaming already has the advantage on the bot side, but when it comes to the mid lane, it's still anybody's priority. And if we can see the side of Doyen pick it up, it could really help them coming into this dragon fight. Give them an actual way to walk in to that river safely.
Just a moment ago, you saw Nemesis push in the top wave and teleport over. Orianna went to answer that, but has no teleport available. A little bit of a scrap here, but Tony Top able to find a way out. You saw Iconic wanted to maybe get in there, but nothing available. This Dragon up in about 5 seconds. Orianna now rejoining the team. Half a mana bar, but should be enough to get the job done in a fight. So looking to get the push in the mid lane and enter the river. Dragon has been started up already. The Hawkshot is going out. You see Iconic wants to get in there. This Dragon's just about dead. It's under 2,000 HP, and down it goes over to CB. The Ashalt goes wide. Wallflower gets hooked in midair, but this could be problematic. 2 members get knocked up on the side. Over the wall, Camille gets pulled in. Phenom unable to pick up a kill, but Kisno able to slide out using that invisibility. So it's a 1-for-0 for Dewey and Tony Top, but the Dragon goes over to CB.
Once again, a relatively even trade for this point in the game, but that Dragon will do a lot more as we get later and more damage is placed onto these champions. When it's a Dragon for a kill trade, it can be very good situationally depending who you are. That kill, I believe, went over to Zach, which is going to help him hit that Sunfires a little bit sooner, and Zach with Jaxo Sunfire is pretty scary.
Yeah, the biggest issue, I got a friend that plays a lot of Jhin, and he hates playing against Zach for this particular reason. Like, what are you supposed to do as a Jhin against the Zach when he gets so tanky? The gold lead's starting to close a little bit, and maybe the question needs to become, does Dewey and Tony Top have inevitability?
That is a solid question to ask. Both teams, when it comes to the scaling game, are very even. And when it comes to team fighting, honestly, Doyen kind of looks a little bit better because it's a lot easier to be able to not get hit by a blitz hook and play the fight from there. And the thing that makes Iconic's Zac pick so good in this team is not just the fact that it's Jhin, but there's 3 very immobile champions, right? You got Victor, you got Jhin, you got Blitzcrank, who he can dive on at any point, whereas on their side, who's Blitz really supposed to hook that's walking slowly?
Yeah, it's not many people that you are happy with hooking, although they are going to land a hook onto Iconic. They're trying to pick him out here, but he just has so much HP, doesn't take any damage, healing over the blobs as well. Kisno has to run away. There's nothing that could be done there. The Ashalt was lucky for CB Gaming to go wide. It could have been problematic.
It absolutely could have. I think if that Ashalt hits, we see a turning in tides for Douyin. But with that, I mean, it just goes to show how strong Zach is. He has the Sunfire here, he has the Jaxo here, and he's healing for days. And that's even with Viego having heal cut.
Yeah, that heal cut is not doing enough right now. But we all know how strong Viego is and how well Kisno has played today. It's still possible for them to win a fight. What happens if you take everybody else out and Zach is the last one standing? It's not exactly going to 1v5.
And the other thing is, even if they're able to get the lower priority targets like Caitlyn, we can be seeing Viego change into them, especially if he gets his hands on Orianna. That Orianna is fed. She's 4-1. She has Ludens. She has Seraphs. She has the Sork shoes. If Viego can execute her, take over her body, he can do massive amounts of damage to the enemy team, including Wallflower, who doesn't have any MR right now.
You can see Phenom taking a lot of damage, but you are absolutely right. You take over that Orianna, you could take over the fight. Minute and 30 seconds till the next Drake. We see Baron available on the map as well. It's a very tight game right now. Just a 2,500 gold difference up in the top lane. Trying to set this up. They see a Hawkshot go up. Tony Top and Orianna are in the bottom lane, so you see the pings going onto the Baron. They're going to engage onto Phenom, looking to take him out. They're going to drop the Orianna ultimate. Phenom's got nowhere to go. That's a kill. They both have teleport available. You see Orianna teleporting to the top side of the map. Wallflower getting in there, trying to knock up a couple of people, but gets blown up, is in the Zac blobs. There's a teleport coming in as well. Tony Top has joined the fight, but it's a double kill for Last Dance, and the curtain will be called. Can they find Levitate? Flashes over the wall, but in hot pursuit is Kisno, looking to land the stun. Levitate will heal to walk it out. A great fight there for the side of CB. They take the 2-0 up top, and it looks like they might go back on this Baron, and they will.
I'm not going to lie. Initially, I thought that play could have been really bad for CB. Tony and Kratos, of course, having the TPs, but I feel like Tony was a little bit late to commit to it. He finished clearing the wave down into the bit damage to the tower. Didn't
they're
DP
turning.
as fast
They're
as Thanos.
turning. They're turning on Tony Top. Tony Top is low, but will survive. Levitate gets rooted, and Levitate is done. The Baron has reset, but it looks like they will pull off this time around. Phenom ready to rejoin, but they've realized, you know what? There are too many people left alive, so they will extend their lead just a little bit and get a lot of clutch kills. This dragon spawning next.
Now the question is that a good death? You had two options there. Go for the Baron, try to stop him, which they did. But now Dragon is on the map and Levitate is not. So their options here is either try to take a 4v5, which isn't recommendable, or they can do what it looks like they're going to try to do and try to commit to this Baron until Levitate spawns and stop them from going to Dragon, which seems to be exactly what's happening.
Well, they were looking to trade Dragon for the Vision in the top side. It was a great play by Tony Top to go and clear that Vision and just say, you know what, you guys can have this Dragon, that's okay. You know, that we know what the real prize is, but the Dragon hadn't been started yet. Now it's getting started up, which means there's an opportunity for Dewey and Tony Top to maybe make something happen, but it looks like they're just not any interest in it. Don't want to walk into Fog of War, and that will put CB Gaming on Soul Point.
Now that Soul Point is massive this game. It is the Inferno Soul, one of the most loved souls ever since getting Dragon Soul was a thing in League. And it just does so much damage. It's great burst. And that is what you want if you're on the side of CB or on the side of Doyen. This soul can be really impactful. So in the next 4 minutes, that dragon fight is going to be crucial in determining who's going to come out with this second game.
The egg timer is on, and Team Tony Top needs to make a play, and they may have found that play. Oh my god, they're just look away, man. Last dance, nothing that they could do once they got hit by that Ash Arrow. And you see the pings going onto the Baron. That is a major member down, and this Baron started up for the side of Dewey and Tony Top. Darius is on their way up, but they don't have any way of getting there quickly other than burning summoners. Here's a fight. It's a 5v3. Ace in the hole gonna go down. Armored Mauldan able to take out Tony Top. Nemesis still alive, but now goes down. And Orianna doing so much, but here comes the Darius, able to pick up one. Viego gets another. Armored Mauldan picks up a kill as well. They go for the engagement and they lose everything. A 4-for-1 for CB, and they're on the Baron.
What a turn from CB Gaming as they take head in this match hard. Now it's going to be them who picks up the 1500 gold and the giant purple worm buff. What a fight they just took. They got the bounty off of Orianna. I believe it went on Blitzcrank. Not your favorite person to take it, but man, that fight was so well executed.
It was fantastic. It was a good call, honestly, by the side of TikTok Tony Top, but they were a little bit separated. Levitate entered the fight using the ace in the hole, meaning they weren't getting valuable auto attacks off. Orianna did a lot of damage, but then found themselves face to face with some scary members of the side of CB Gaming. And CB, they're in complete control now. 6,000 gold lead, Baron up. They're looking to finish day one 2-0.
That is a very strong possibility. They got two bounties on the table right now, though, that you're probably looking to claim. If you are Doyen, you need to get some gold on Caitlyn Orianna if you want to win this game. Orianna is the only person on that team doing a lot of damage, and it means the second she goes down in a team fight, it's kind of doomed if you're Doyen.
The positioning is going to be really important. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left to go before this dragon comes up. It could be disastrous for Dewey and Tony Top, the third seed, desperately trying to hang on and make sure this game doesn't get away from them. Getting to the 30-minute mark, we see Kisno on those 3 core items, has that Guardian Angel available. You see Nemesis was alive for a large amount of that fight, pumping out damage. Last Dance wasn't even there. That fight would have been far in favor of CB had he been there. So all that matters, CB just needs to stick together and not get picked.
And of course, that IE spike going to be coming into play with Last Dance because it's only 2 items. He was able to buy it a lot early. We still don't see any items like that in the nature for Levitate, whether for the best or for the worst for Doyen. But in 1 minute and 30, it is the fight we were talking about a while ago. Dole will be up to be claimed if you're on the side of CB. And somehow, despite being 5,000 gold down, you need to find a way to stop it.
This is a big play. They've spotted the Darius. They've CC'd the Darius. Is he going to be able to survive? Trying to sustain, but can't do so. A huge pick early, but now Tony Top is in a lot of trouble, has nowhere to go against this Blitzcrank, is going to throw down the Hextech Ultimatum, is going to get caught, is going to get absolutely blasted, so the top laners get traded.
Overall, a little bit better for the side of Douyin as we go into this Dragon fight. Again, Tony Top has TP up when they spawn. They'll still make it to Dragon. Phenom should be there as well. However, CB Gaming has the control right now. They have the vision over the Baron Pit, or the Dragon Pit, sorry. They have to walk into CB to get that Dragon. They got to walk into a Blitzcrank if they want to stop that soul.
It could be steal time for Iconic. Zach, adept at stealing objectives. Just as long as he's got the vision, you know he can make the play. Former pro player, ready to make plays when called upon. And this is going to be a huge moment. They need to extend the game.
They absolutely do. 15 seconds till the Inferno Drake spawn. Still, Douyin nowhere near that Dragon Pit. Their jungle is under control of CB Gaming.
Oh, they've caught him. They've caught the Zach. This could be big trouble. He's been silenced. He has to flash out. Kizno looking for more, but will walk away. No, gets stunned by the Ashe ultimate, and there's an ultimate out of Orianna. You can see Tony Top going in, pops the stopwatch. Tony Top's in a lot of trouble. Wallflower getting in there, but now he's a bunch of blobs. It's a 5v4 for at least a little bit. Tony Top trying to make things happen, but Nemesis will be able to pick up a kill. Wallflower goes down. It's a double kill for Nemesis. Levitate in trouble. Kizno picks that up. Orianna goes down. CB Gaming run. Team Tony Top off the rift.
And all 5 of them still alive for a push.
This is it.
Here.
This is it, Romeo. There are a 5-man squad with 25 seconds on Tony Top. They know this thing's over. Nemesis is going to back to get a full mana bar and then teleport to a minion. He's now showing back up to the party. The inhibitor has fallen. 15 seconds on these members. That's it, Romeo. They've won. They've gone 2-0 in day 1. They knock off the 3rd seed.
Team B Gaming has done it. They have beaten Douyin.
Wow. What a fantastic game out of CB, Romeo. They came to play. Kizno is fantastic. What a jungler. 2 flawless games today.
Absolutely flawless. His Viego went wild. A perfect game. 0 deaths on the board for Kizno and just took down a former jungler from the LCS.
And listen, I want to give everybody their proper credit here. I mean, Phenom, it's a rough matchup. Tony Top is a fantastic player. They got a little bit of help early. Things were looking good. Then they got focused down, but there were still a lot of moments. They had a lot of key moments in these fights where this Darius made a huge impact.
And don't take anything away from Douyin here. They played phenomenally. Kratos went off. They did a great job at punishing Nemesis for picking such a low movement champ. But CB found a way. They got the advantage and they made sure never to let it out of their grasp.
Yeah, it was a fantastic job. The games were close. They've played really, really tight. And, you know, I thought that maybe not having a double teleport would sink them, but it did not. Nemesis, after a rough early start, 0-4-3, I think at one point, finishes the game 5-4-12, so goes the rest of the game without being taken down. We didn't really talk too much about Armored Mauldad and Last Dance, but Last Dance did pretty good staying out of harm's way, picking up kills, landing some clutch snares, and then of course some of these blitz hooks were really fantastic.
The one towards the end when he grabbed Wallflower in that bush is what started the game-winning fight for the side of CP. We said it in draft. If Blitz can land crucial hooks, the team fight's going to be in the favor of CP, and that's just what Maudad did.
Yep, and who knows, you know, maybe CB Gaming, they're seeding potentially a little low here as they come through, and they largely dominated the 3rd seed after about the 25-minute mark. I mean, the game was fairly close, but they were advantaged from the jump.
Yeah, they did an incredible job. We said it was a David and Goliath story, and they kind of proved us wrong. They stepped up to the plate and knocked the 3rd seed somehow out of the Summoner's Rift. Now, Tony Top is still 1-1. They can still go the distance, but CB's gonna be going into tomorrow freshly 2-0.
Yeah, they are in the driver's seat. They'll have 3 games tomorrow, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific time, and we will see you there. But that is it for us here today, because there were only 2 games for day 1 of the NACL qualifiers. But tomorrow, again, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, we'll see if CB can remain undefeated and go and get 3 wins in a row. That is it for us here today. For myself, Romeo, Pop-Tart, the entire CB team, and the rest of the CB family, thank you so much for being here with us on today's stream, and we hope to see you tomorrow for some more NACL Open Qualifier action.